Hello, citizens of
PlayStation.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world.
Ridge Racer!
This is living.
Your host this week, Alex Sylvester, and with me today, as always, is Mr. Sonny Sangera.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm all right, man. How's things?
Feels weird on this side of the chat.
You tell me about it, man. All right, then. So let's get straight into it, man. There's quite a few things to go through today. But let's see if we can jump straight into the first topic. So, what you been playing?
Again, a bit of everything, really. So the spring sale is on the PSN at the moment, so I loaded up on some games. So at the moment, I'm playing Until Dawn: Rush of Blood in VR.
Nice.
Had that on launch day, played the first level, never really got to it. I thought I want to sit down and play it, and I'm telling you, man, you do it on a hard difficulty, this game is bullshit.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking bullshit. The level difficulty on this game is ridiculous. I was just like, I've got to see it through now because I'm on the last level, and I want to break my VR. That's how infuriating this game is. But it's really good. It's a lot of fun. Jump scares, again, really good party game. If you've got a PSVR and you've got people who come round and you want to show it off, this is a great thing for them. Especially if you've got the Move controllers. It's also in the spring sale as well. So I've been playing that. I've been playing a few demos. So I played the Resident Evil 3 demo. I played the Final Fantasy 7 demo and a couple others. But I've been playing A Way Out. So it's a EA original game. It's about breaking out of prison, but it's a co-op game. So me and my brother are actually doing it in co-op online. Really good game. Something different, a change of vibe. But as soon as I finish A Way Out, I'm going into... So I platinum trophied Shadow of Mordor a number of years ago. So I bought the new one, which is Shadow of War. Well, it's not new. It came out like 2 years ago. Or like a year and a half, I would say. But yeah, I've bought it. Literally 15 quid. I was like, right, bargain. It's in the Lord of the Rings lore. That's my jam. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, I don't have to go any ridiculous hours to platinum it, so I'm going to go for the platinum on that one as well.
Nice. Add it to the collection. Me, don't know if I touched base on it last week. Hellblade for the Switch. We're going retro. Obviously, they're doing a whole load of remakes, conversions, or whatever you want to call it, for the Switch. And Hellblade was the game that I picked up on the spring sale. The game is phenomenal. They've done really well with the graphics. Obviously, nothing compared to the PS4 version. I mean, that one just blew my mind away, but it was fairly close, especially for the animated sequences anyway. But once you get past the visuals, the gameplay was second to none. It's a fairly straight run-through game. What you're looking at about 7 to 10 hours. But it was compelling story, and I'm looking forward to the sequel. Even though I know it's only been advertised on the Xbox Series X.
Well, dude,
hopefully they're going to be bringing it out.
Well, it's on Game Pass, won't it? So you can play it on PC.
Oh, right. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's that. I know there's a PlayStation show. If I just deviate for a second, it just makes you think: do you need to spend the money on a Series X in the first 2 years, where games are obviously going to be delayed because of the current world situation? You can play these launch games on Game Pass on PC, or you know what I mean. So it's a bit crazy at the moment. The fact that to play Hellblade 2, if you want to, you just need to get the Ultimate Game Pass to have access to it on the PC and play it on the PC.
Yeah. But obviously with the Xbox Series X, it's be a lot easier for people, and those who don't want to have to tweak every nook and cranny about their PC or laptop, getting the latest graphics card, the RAM, making sure that the screen and refresh rate's all to par. Just buy the all-in-one package.
Fucking
PC.
nerds.
Yeah. Why? What are you talking about, mate? We created this industry, So come on,
you big bunch of nerds. That's it.
Yeah. You guys are saps. Yeah.
Listen, listen.
We're still gonna have the best graphics.
At the end of the day, you're calling me saps. You know what my next quote is? Don't underestimate the power of PlayStation. That's it. Yeah? There you go.
I will give you that title or that moniker, just for like 18 months until like the PC market catches up. obviously after the AMD exclusivity is like rolled out. But anyway, it's going to be interesting. That's what I could say. Let's look at what we got here. All right, cool. So this week we're going to be going through a few questions from our listeners. We're starting with Helen from Chicago. What's up, Chicago?
Chi-Town?
Chi-Town, home to the Chicago Bulls and Kanye West, but amongst others.
And if you like
Okay,
your wrestling, CM Punk.
Oh, wow, okay.
There you go, mate.
There we go. Yeah, you have that knowledge, Pastor. All right, cool. She asks, it's been confirmed that Bluepoint Games, developers behind Shadow of the Colossus remake, are making a huge remake for the PS5, and that the visuals are going to be groundbreaking. What do you think it is, and what do you want it to be? I'll throw that over to you.
Well, to give you a bit of backstory and some listeners a bit of backstory on Bluepoint Games, they did the Eco and Shadow of the Colossus HD collection on PS3. But they actually, and this is where you'll be like, oh, I know them, because you've actually played one of their games, bro. Yep. Metal Gear Solid HD collection.
What?
That was Bluepoint, and then they also did and then they did the Nathan Drake collection. But it really was the Shadow of the Colossus. The game was rebuilt. It looked absolutely stunning on PS4. Like, it was ridiculous. So, there's a lot of merit to Bluepoint. And, they hit this renaissance at the same time with Capcom. Capcom redid, obviously, Resident Evil 2, and these remakes were working. But Bluepoint is seen as, like, the team in that area, when it comes to remakes and things like that. So, I mean, I have read for months and months, whatever Bluepoint are creating, it is mind-bogglingly, like, visually stunning. And you know they can do it. You just got to go and look at some screenshots of video on YouTube of Shadow of the Colossus on PS4. That stuff is insane. And that's a PS2 game. But there has been rumours, and the worst thing is, I know Bluepoint themselves have been teasing. I'll find it when you're discussing it, but I mean, there's been some rumors about them doing a potential Resistance trilogy, or there was an insane rumor that they were doing Grand Theft Auto remake. Metal Gear Solid was in there as well. There's so many games. In terms of what I think it is, I think it's a game is Demon Souls, which is the spiritual beginning to the Dark Souls and Bloodborne series. It started doing shared worlds before a lot of the shared worlds game came to fruition, basically. Brick Hard has a massive cult following, so I think if I was to guess, my educated guess is Demon Souls. What I actually want, bro, I want to go back to Shadow Moses. I want Metal Gear Solid. If you were to say to me, you can have any developer in the world remake Metal Gear Solid, I wouldn't even take Kojima Productions. I'd want Bluepoint to do it.
You want Bluepoint to do it? Wow, okay.
Because they'll make it amazing. So, I think it's Demon Souls. I want Metal Gear.
You want Metal Gear Solid? All right. Did they do the remake of Metal Gear Solid on the GameCube? Was that them? Was that another company?
Might have been. It might have been,
Twin Snakes was an amazing game.
Before you carry on, I want to give you the teasers that they've been putting up. Okay. So I was just going through. So Bluepoint themselves have been having a lot of fun with people, kind of just teasing them. Like, people saying it's Resistance, it's Metal Gear, it's this, it's that. So they've been putting up some mixed thingies. So here's one for you. So calm this spooky night. A symphony of rumours, not one, but two, return from shadow, a resistance to dart home as black monsters escape twisted hills to wander lands and siphon souls. Filter your candy collections, soft from solid, and be eco-friendly. Have a metal Halloween. And you just think, oh, what is that all about? What the hell does that even mean? Like, and then... 'Twas the night before, excitement mounts, in stealthily wrapped boxes, creatures stirred for announce. Hope for adventure and victory spread, visions of heroes enhanced in their heads. We sprang forth to play, exclaimed at the sight, happy gaming to all, let there be no sleep at night. And then they did one earlier on Valentine's Day, which was fortunes were red, Destined Wind Blue, Fallen Angel Takes Aim, choosing not one but two. They're just taking the piss, man. Really, you
They're just
know.
throwing it all out there, aren't they? I mean, I'm hearing elements of definitely Metal Gear Solid in there. So I think they're working on it. I think they're trying to get a deal sorted out with Konami. Just bring a, a remake of that would be freaking amazing.
So if they could,
With part two.
so you're educated as Metal Gear.
Metal Gear, I'd hope that they would actually bring Twin Snakes. I hope they'll do that because obviously they have the enhanced visuals, additional parts of the story. It's pretty much like the director's cut. I hope that they go down that route.
I think if they were
Yeah.
to do it, I think you got to go even more than that. I think it looks more like Resi 2 remake. Like
What?
that's the level Bluepoint will go
Yeah,
at.
you mean they're actually just go, completely just like build it from the ground up and
Yeah,
then pretty
I
much
mean,
go
Sony
to
have said
town
it
with it.
that there's no assets
Yeah,
available for PlayStation 1 because it's all gone. But
right.
if Bluepoint were to redo Metal Gear, it would have to be completely from the ground up. No Twin Snakes code,
Yeah,
nothing, because that's why you never see it in the HD collection. It was always a digital code to download the
right.
PS1 classic from the PSN,
Yeah,
but they would have
yeah.
to remake the whole game. And I just
Yeah, I
think
think
if they
that'd be,
could do it
yeah.
in that, that 3D camera behind Solid, oh man,
Yeah, that
that
first person, yeah, that would look amazing in HD graph visuals as well.
well, we're
We're
not even in
talking about
HD anymore,
testosterone.
bro. Anyway, we're in
Oh
4K,
yeah, yeah,
4K, 60
4K,
frames.
4K, yeah, 60 frames easy, no problem. I think that'd be the right choice. I think they've definitely got that in the canon somewhere. But as you said, Demon Souls, it could be. Only
Mm.
time will tell. So yeah, thank you very much, Helen from Chicago. We're going to be running over to Dublin now. We have Nancy. Uh, Did I just say that? Can we just cut that part out? All right, then. Nancy Dubin, there's no location.
I'm not editing that
She.
out, bro.
Okay,
That's staying in. Everyone's gonna hear that mistake. Dublin, Dubin.
Nancy Dubin. It could have been Nancy from Dublin, but anyway. So, okay, so Nancy Dubin. Thanks for listening. Asks, will the PS5 be the best Christmas present this year? I think I'll take that one. The answer to that question is obviously not. We're going to be looking at the, the fourth year for the Nintendo Switch, and it's just going to blow all the sales and records. It's going to shoot the PS5 and the Xbox Series X to pieces. But second to that, I do believe that people are definitely going to need a secondary console, and definitely the PS5, I would say, would be be the console for that. So yes, it will be the second best Christmas present this year. That's what I would say. Anyway, your thoughts?
I think it's weird, Nancy. I think you've got to look at it's so hard because we don't know if the games are going to make launch now. The development time. Like, are you going to buy? I think this is going to be like the old school, dude, where it was, if you remember when the PS2 came out with like 7 games. I don't think there's going to be that many games, for both Series X and PlayStation. So I
Yeah,
think if
new
you
game.
are
Right,
adamant with PlayStation, if you're an adamant fan, like I am, I'll get it day and date. Well,
yeah.
technically I'll get it before, but it's all good. But
Mhm.
you know, I have to have it day one. I want it day one, even if it doesn't come out with any games. I want the thing to look at.
Just want to say, yeah.
You know what I mean? I want that dual
You can
sense
sit
in
with
my
it all
hands.
naked just to feel it. Oh yeah, just in case
That's
you
it,
steal.
man. I want it, but I think you've got to base it on personal circumstance. If you have the
Mhm.
money and you have the means to get it and you want it, by all means, go ahead. It will be a great Christmas for you. If you're not in a rush and just take your time, I would say spring. If you're not in a rush, because by that point the software will be there. Games that were probably due for launch in November time are probably
Mhm.
moving to spring. So spring, summer, great time. Plus, you get better bundle deals as well then, because you've got to
Absolutely,
understand. Sony have already said that it's going to be extremely limited.
yeah.
They said that in the first year for PS4, 7.5 million were available. This is going to be like 4 million in the first
Wow.
year. When I mean first year, like that's fiscal year, so that's from like
Yeah.
launch to March 31st. So not like the whole calendar year, but
Mm.
that's still, when it comes to a PlayStation console, you have to remember the PS4 in Europe alone sold 1 million in a day. In America, a
Well,
million in a day. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just one of them where you 4 million consoles to last until spring, and the PS4 sold 2 to 3 million in its first week worldwide. So
Phenomenal.
the stock's going to be short. Don't go out of your way. Just do it based on your means. If you can do it and you want it, by all means, pre-order it. Go for it. If you can't, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think you'll see 90% of the games will be cross-gen, which means they'll be on PS4 to PS5. Or you just got to look at the Xbox One and the PS4. 99% of the launch games were on PS3 and PS4. So it'll be the same this time, because not one developer is going to truly turn their back on, by that point, 115 million PS4s.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. I think you're right though. I think there will be limited amount of exclusives. Definitely, will be cross-platform all the way. Your FIFA's definitely be on there. Maybe an enhanced Call of Duty. We may see an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I think your big players. I think your Activision, your EA, your Ubisoft. Yeah. Well, Ubisoft. I mean, there's two companies I think this generation have had a complete fall of grace, and that was Bethesda and Ubisoft, because Bethesda went into this generation as, coming off Skyrim, which was still broke to fuck, but they got the nostalgia. They're in the good graces. People they make the game, but they've been shown up by CD Projekt Red, which showed how to make a game like that. And with Ubisoft, they started the generation so great, but then all the games came samey. Sales plummeted, and they delayed Watch Dogs Legion and so many others for the launch of Series X and PlayStation. So I think you do see your Call of Duties, you do see your Maddens, your NBAs, your FIFAs, and obviously your Ubisoft games. So yeah, I think you'll see a few.
Yeah, cool. And another big question is, would we potentially see Last of Us 2? Could we see that being a launch title?
That's interesting, dude, because a lot of games have changed dates because of the coronavirus. Last of Us was delayed indefinitely, and Sony even refunded everybody their money. So it makes you think
it has to be refund. Wow.
Yeah. So whether they thought to themselves that it's about a pandemic and all that stuff, and they've delayed the game for that reason, but it isn't. That was Last of Us 1. This is about a Christian worshipping homophobic cult in that same world, right? But I think you're right. I think tactically they've looked at Halo Infinite. The question we had the other week, what do they have to compete? I think it will be that there's a PS4 version of The Last of Us 2. And I think if you have a PS5, if you have the PS4 version of Last of Us 2, you get the PS5 version for free, I think, in a digital download.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. I mean,
I think they'll do that.
Obviously, we've got the backwards compatibility. As soon as you throw it into the machine, it should just update, as we mentioned before. So I guess it makes sense for them to pretty much, they'll probably release that around this time next year then, really. Make a big push for it. Probably add a bit more content to it to encourage people to get to even buy the game, if you just picked up a PS5, or even just to get players to play it again, even those who've already picked it up over Christmas. Something new for them to play. So maybe
it showed. If you think about it, The Last of Us is a single-player story campaign, and it's at 20 million, almost at 20 million sold, and this is for a single-player, 18-rated campaign game. Not kids can't buy it unless the adults buy it for them. I mean, this is a single player, and it's on one platform. You know what I mean, as well. Yeah. So it's doing COD numbers on one platform, and it's not a shooter.
Yeah,
it shows that the esteem to that game is unbelievable. And I don't know if you know, BAFTA did Game of the Decade. So they took all the... They took 10 years, from 2010 to 2020, all the winners of the BAFTA Game of the Year, and put them to a public vote, which accounted to 50%, and the other 50% was critics and media. And The Last of Us was voted Game of the Decade.
Wow.
That game is held in such high esteem.
And well-deserved.
You know what I mean? You played it, that first half an hour. What the hell?
Yeah, it's amazing. So shout out to Naughty Dog. Truly immersive. Again, another studio developer. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can really push out of the PS5. There's also Cyberpunk. Will we see that on the PS5?
Well, they've announced that. CD Projekt Red have announced that there is an Xbox Series X and a PS5 version of Cyberpunk coming, but not at launch. That's all they've said.
Right.
But they
Okay.
did say that if you buy the game on Xbox One and then it comes out a
Yep.
year later, that disc will automatically get you the Series X version.
Sweet.
So it's like a I can't remember what the game switch. I can't remember what they called it. It was just a novelty thing that they called it, really. But
Yeah.
basically, yeah,
Okay.
it is coming to next gen, but they just haven't given a
Still
date.
coming. Cool. Well, yeah. And not to mention the host of PS4 games, which I'm sure are going to be instantly updated into 4K, potentially on launch as well. So they're going to host a whole host of games. Ghost of Tsushima as well.
Oh, come on.
That could be another one up there. That's it's going to be mouth-watering as well. We can only wait and see. All right. Thanks for that, Nancy. We're over to Sam now from Worcester. You mentioned that you're both happy with the Sony. Sorry, trying to get my words. You mentioned that you're both happy with the way that Sony have trickled out the PS5 info to date. What do they need to do now going forward? What should be their strategy? That's a good one.
What do you think?
Yeah,
Because
that's a
obviously
good.
you've been really
Actually,
impressed with the drip feed that they've been doing.
I have. I have been impressed with the drip feed. I'm in two minds. I mean, the way they've been drifting the information has been pretty tantalizing, to use the word. I think if they continue with this cadence, with this momentum, then yeah, definitely by the time it comes to Christmas, they'll be looking at, obviously, selling out all over the world. I think potentially we could see, it'd be nice if they showed a glimpse of the sequel to Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. I think that would definitely blow people's socks and faces off. Because, I mean, that would kind of be true to form as well, since they did announce it at the Wired event, last year. It would be nice if they did follow through with that. But yeah, I think right now it'll be good to see some games. I know there is a couple of rumors which we'll get to a bit later, but definitely I think the games is what people want to see now. So if they go ahead with giving us a bit more information about the types of games that we could see for the E3 season. So we're looking at May, June, and then obviously we've got the PS event at the end of August, is it? Where they could potentially just unveil the actual console itself. That's what I think they'll potentially do. And that's when they'll be taking orders to release this brand new £600 to £700 console. I'll leave it over to you.
I think Microsoft have a big say in it as well. I think
Yeah.
obviously Sony is reacting to what Microsoft are doing. I think next month we see games.
Well,
I do.
yeah, nice.
I think Sony don't want things to leak. They want to control the messaging, hence why they did the controller the way they did. I think it'll be the same with the games. I don't think, and we've seen it, they do not allow Microsoft to have the mind share for long. And I think Microsoft have done really, really well. They're going to show a lot quick. They're really going to show gameplay to show it off quick. I think if I was Sony, what I would do now is, if you need to do anything tech related, do it like the Wired article. Don't do it as an event video or anything like that. People don't want to see that now. We want to see the machine. We want to see games, and I think we will see that this summer. And I think Sony will just show a lot of things off. I think what would be really cool is, I don't know if it'd be possible. Like, you'd need some crazy compute power. But imagine if you could play a demo, like the demos that we would have played at expos and shows. Imagine if we were able to play them over the cloud.
Wow.
It ain't going to happen, right? Because
it's not going to happen. I mean,
we'll blow it up.
Wishful thinking, definitely, man.
But I mean, there was developers getting things ready for E3 and that time of the year, and the Tokyo Game Show and Gamescom and things. I think the next thing that Sony show has to be hardware and games, or at least games. I think they'll wait for the hardware. But yeah, we'll see where they go, because Sony are old school. They like, when they unveil the hardware of PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, they don't do it in a video. They have the president standing on the stage and holding it, and you see the flashes go crazy. Like, you look at the PS4, Microsoft showed it in a beautiful video, whereas it came to E3, Sony had it on stage. They were holding it like old school style. I like that, and I think Jim Ryan will want to have that moment as well, like, go down as an alumni of showing off the console for the first time. And I think it would be kind of cool for them to do that way, and they may hold off, but it depends what they want to do. But I think strategically now, the one thing that they need to do next is games.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, games and I don't know. I kind of want to hear a bit more about their their little thing called the PSVR. You know, I kind of want to see what that's going to look like. You know, I want to see the next iteration of that. But obviously, we can discuss that at a later time. But I think that's going to be, I think that's another one of the aces up their sleeves. Everyone's kind of focusing on the actual console and its raw power, but no one's actually thinking about the potential for VR, because they're going to be the leaders again. Well, they currently are the leaders for VR, aren't they? So that would be amazing. But then again, it just shows that Sony's got a lot in their arsenal to potentially show
You
to us.
forget,
Really.
Alex, with the exception of the Nintendo Wii, Sony's always been the market leader.
I'm sorry, you just cut out there. What was that?
Yeah. I know.
I got a
You say what
bullshit
you want.
filter.
History speaks, mate. History speaks. Every generation, with the exception of this Wii, PlayStation is the market leader. We're going to leave that there. Move on. What's the next question?
You're right.
Yeah?
No, you're actually right. Let's move on. We got a question from Alex. He says, "No, actually, the Switch will actually be a 200 million seller." Actually, it's only wishful thinking, but it's doing pretty well right now. And if it wasn't for this current shortage, especially with the virus, we would be seeing some phenomenal numbers.
Oh yeah,
Because
without a
it
doubt.
seems like Animal Crossing is killing it right now. It's crazy. That's not even the game that I play, but I'm surprised that there's such a massive following for it. But anyway, leaving from that, thanks Alex for that question. Okay, we have Alfredo from London. He asks, "Have you guys seen Quantum Error? It's a horror game confirmed for the PS5. If so, thoughts? What are your thoughts? And could you do an episode dedicated to it?" I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking to do an episode on both Godfall and Quantum Error. You know, I was going to throw it your way because it'd be kind of cool to talk about a game for once.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen Quantum Error. I sent you the trailer. You've seen the
yeah,
trailer in the
yeah. I
past. We
saw
saw
it.
it on launch.
Really good.
Looks amazing, looks stunning. And even though that's not even final build, that's on early GDK, you know, game developers kits.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. They've been teasing a lot lately about it, showing screenshots.
yeah,
You know, with their basic enemy called the puppet. You know, it looks amazing. The detail on it looks stunning. But what excites me the most about it is the developers talking about audio. This is a horror game. Audio is a big thing. A lot of people forget the reason Death Stranding, the reason PT was
yeah,
so unnerving was the audio. It was the radio and what you could hear and what the news report was about. It was so disturbing that it
yeah,
added
yeah.
to the dread of PT. And with the Tempest, again, dude, this Tempest engine is going to take things to the. You got the Tempest engine
Yeah.
mixed with 3D audio, and you're going to play a horror game. Are you freaking kidding me? You
I was
know what I
actually going
mean?
to say that to add to that with the obviously I've been playing Hellblade, and even though you can tell that the Switch hardware is not the best, the audio on that in headphones, I did actually I
Dude,
took your advice
exactly.
and I popped in the headphones, and it sounded crazy. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
So and that
because
was
it
a
gives you the
2017
ideas.
game. Yeah.
It gives
So
you the ideas that you got voices in your
yeah,
head. When I played it on the
yeah,
PS4 a few years ago, I was just mind blown from it. And
yeah,
with Quantum Error, it looks great. To me, to this day, the best horror game that I've
yeah.
played in a long, long time. I don't count Resident Evil 7 because I played that all in
I was going to
PSVR.
say, yeah. Resident Evil
Um,
7 was pretty
and
unnerving.
and when you do it in VR, it takes it to a whole nother level. So I don't really count that, but
Mm.
it's Dead Space,
Yeah,
and it was so like just confined spaces, dark, but it was the audio again, hearing the monsters and stuff. And if Quantum Error can just relive that magic, recreate that magic,
yeah,
with the audio design, it's going and it has decent gameplay. It's going to be great. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait.
yeah.
And yeah, we'll definitely do an episode about it because obviously it seems like this is a developer that wants to talk about its game.
Yeah, definitely. Finally, somebody who can't wait. Yeah, I'll second that. definitely. If they, again, we're looking at this raw power which is going to be unleashed with the PS5, and we're going to see a brand new horror game, and obviously they're going to be trying to push that to the limits as well. I mean, even from the clip that we saw, when you got all the zombies or monsters coming through, busting through the doors. I mean, that's just going to look crazy. I mean, that was all in game, wasn't it? So. It's going to be phenomenal seeing exactly what the game's capable of, and first seeing what the PS5 is going to be capable of. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, like you said, I'm down for an episode about the Quantum Era. All right then. Thanks for that, Alfredo. And finally, we got Tim from NYC, New York. What's up? All the things Sony has officially spoken about the PS5. Of all the things that Sony has officially spoken about the PS5, what excites you the most? Ooh, wow. Okay, let me take, because I know you've got a lot. But
I don't know, bro.
Me?
If I got everything, I've got to think of one.
Oh yeah. But yeah, for me, I think it's for me. I mean, obviously, listeners will know that this SSD solid state drive is going to be a game changer. But along with the speed, I know it's two things, but that's going to revolutionize the way we play games from here on out. I mean, it's we talked about the horizon. Seeing if we could even get to another bottleneck, or what even try and perceive what they could potentially be. That's what I'm really looking forward to seeing, what developers are going to be capable of pushing out the system. But yeah, what do you say?
Oh man, he's trying to ask me to put kid in a candy store, pick one sweet. I'm trying to think of something different about the SSD. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say the DualSense.
Oh wow! Okay.
SSD is going to change the way we play games in a big way.
Yep.
But my tool to that world is the controller. And with the PS history I have, the DualShock 4, I don't even realize it's in my hand. You know what it is. You don't even have to. The controller's good when you don't even have to look at it, right?
Yeah.
And the speed that me and you can play Tekken at, we don't ever need to look at the pad for combinations or anything like that. If I'm playing a sports game or anything, I don't have to look at the controller. Same with a lot of people. It's and it's the way it feels. If the controller feels wrong, you are disconnected from that game.
Yeah, it pulls you out. Definitely.
Anytime I play the Xbox, I don't have an Xbox, but I do borrow one because I do like Gears. I can never feel truly immersed in the world because of the controller. I don't like the offset dual sticks. I hate the fucking D-pad. But when I'm playing like The Last of Us or Uncharted or Horizon Zero Dawn or Death Stranding is the perfect example. You're so sucked into that story and that beautiful world, and if the pad is wrong, you're not in that world because you're constantly fiddling with the controller. So haptic feedback, triggers, everything. I'm in. It's the DualSense. I need that baby in my hands. You know what I mean? It's just one of them. I'm gonna cradle that thing like my firstborn.
Yeah, exactly. You would have my extension to reality or virtual reality.
But that's it. If the controller, like the PS5, can do everything right, if the controller is shit, we're gonna be like, what? Yeah. But it doesn't look it. It doesn't look it from the way it looks like. Just the offset material used on the back and everything. I can't wait. But I think that's what is exciting me the most at the moment. That will change when the games are shown, but at the moment, definitely the controller.
Yeah, I mean the controller as well. I mean with games from like Quantic Dream, games like Detroit Become Human, the way they utilize the controller. I mean they revolutionized it. I mean, I think the first time I really saw anybody really use the control in a unique way was Kojima's Metal Gear Solid. When you got Solid being tortured and you rapidly have to press X. Especially, and again with Detroit Become Human, when you're kind of clawing around, you're trying to find different body parts. I'm going to be looking forward to see exactly what a developer like Quantic Dream can do for this generation, as well with the haptic feedback. I mean, they're just going to go nuts. I mean, there's no holds barred. They can do anything they want.
It's not even that, dude. Like I said, it's adaptive triggers as well. It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Everything.
Jeez, I mean, I really can't wait to take that controller apart. I really want to see how they're going to make that work. Because that's impressive. Really impressive. Oh Oh, just a quick question. Any thoughts about how much that controller is going to be? I know we did. We touched on it before.
I think same. I think 69 or
But
7. I think 69 or 79.99.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
it goes higher than 79.99. You hit taboo numbers then, But
yeah,
I think Sony are really smart this generation. There'll be plenty of different variations of colors of the controller. There'll be limited
yeah,
editions at higher prices. But you've
yeah.
got to understand we're in an age now where a lot of the offset is made from PlayStation Plus subscriptions
Hmm.
and PlayStation Now. So Sony, compared to when the PS4 first launched, and obviously generations prior to this, it was a dangerous game. But now,
Yeah,
I mean, Sony are the biggest music company in the world. They are a
yeah.
huge film company. They have financials, electronics, but their biggest margin maker is the PlayStation
Right.
business,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
if the manufacturing cost on the controller, I'm presuming is probably going to be around about £48 to £50 for them to make, and then when you add
Yeah,
boxing and
yeah.
shipping and everything, yeah,
Mass.
I honestly, dude, I'll probably say 69.99.
Yeah, yeah, 699. Well, the reason why I think it's going to be like the higher end, 79.99, because I think obviously we're going to have backwards compatibility, which could potentially mean that will they allow PS4 traditional PS4 controllers to be used on
I
the
think a lot
PS5?
of people are getting this wrong. Like Sony have said the 4 works on the 5, and then
Yeah,
everybody all of a sudden thought, "Oh, I can use my PS4 controller to play PS5 games." What they didn't say, and this is a grey area, they said the right
yeah,
thing, but what they didn't clarify is you can use the PS4 controller to play PS4 games on your
yeah,
PS5. But if you want
hmm,
to play an actual PlayStation 5 game, it will be the DualSense. It was the exact same thing with the PS4. When the
mm,
PS4 came out, a lot of people were like, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" Sony said no, but the Dual Shock went backwards to the PS3. It'll
yeah,
be the same in this gen. The Dual Sense will work with both PS4 and PS5 games on the
yeah,
PlayStation 5. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dual Sense actually even comes back in an update and lets you use it with the PS4. But the
mm,
PS4 controller will only, I'll call it now and I'll put money on it, will only work with PS4 compatible games on your
PS4
PlayStation
games.
5. It won't work on
Yeah,
a PS5 game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I see that. I think,
Especially when you think that these developers are going to code for the adaptive triggers and everything like that and the features
yeah,
of the controller. So it'll be one
yeah.
of them.
Definitely, but I think I mean, if you look at the landscape, I mean, what Xbox pads you're looking at what 73 quid. The Joy Cons are looking at what 69. Even some what special edition colors are looking at 85 quid.
Madness.
So I think Sony's going to want some of that money, and they know they can get it because they've got a premium product here. So, but yeah, obviously they don't want to. Not ostracize people, you know what I mean? Don't look it out, but definitely, I think it's going to be towards the higher end. But obviously, time will tell. Um, okay, so in terms of questions, yeah, thanks, Tim. Thanks for listening as well. Thanks to all the questions that came through today. Um, we do we have time for some rumors?
We were going to do it, so I think we'll hold it for the next week's episode.
Yeah.
But we'll tell the listeners what we're going to do. So what we're going to do each episode is we're going to take all the rumors. We don't want to give silly rumors the light of day in any sort of news segment or anything like that. We want to give you facts. We want to give you
Yep.
like real expert opinions on things that Sony have talked about and strategic
Hmm.
options that they can do going forward. But it's the rumors of the fun side of this industry, right? We love hearing rumors. Like the best
Yeah.
time to be a video game fan is the week before E3 because of all the rumors that come. Sony are going to show this, Sony are going to show
Yeah.
that. Oh, Sony are going to bury Microsoft on stage. All this crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
I thought what we'll do then is every week we'll do something called Rumor of the Week, which
Mm.
is we'll take all the rumors and we will discuss which one is the most realistic to a certain point. Obviously, they could all be bombardingly crazy, and we'll kind of just have a quick, brief chat about that rumor.
Yeah.
So this week it was going to be about obviously everything coming out about the potential Horizon 2 game, but that's a lot. That's like a good 10-15 minute conversation, which we can hold till next week, and who knows, we may get some
Yep.
more clarifying information. So next week we will obviously launch our rumor of the week segment on the episodes.
Hmm. Cool. And obviously there's the elephant in the room that we spoke about yesterday. late last night in the confines on our laptops. The patents.
Oh yeah, as well, the heat sinks and everything like that.
Yeah.
What was
So,
your thought on the heat sink?
okay, I thought that was a beast of a heatsink. I could really understand what Sony really meant. That it's like you mentioned, it's going to be a cooling system that everybody's going to be happy with, but the amount of power that system's going to be pushing through is going to need a gargantuan of a cooling system. They're going through a unique approach in terms of um, how they're going to be composing the actual chipset, and I think it's a interesting idea. I mean, then again, it's not too dissimilar from the PS4 and the PS3. No, definitely the PS4. So we're looking at it's going to be not a lightweight system, but it's definitely going to be a slender system, which is going to be a good thing. And heat dissipation is going to be obviously a core component. I just hope that we're not going to hear like vacuum. I hope that it's not going to sound like a jet engine or a vacuum, kind of like that what we heard at the in the Spider-Man game. When you're playing Spider-Man.
Well, they said the big thing for the sound is the constant use of the hard drive, which obviously requires a lot more power, which causes the fan to be in overdrive on the PS4. And that the SSDs for both Xbox and PlayStation have already shown that it's just super. They're way much more quieter, just because it doesn't have the moving segment of a HDD. And you said it as well, actually, the other week, 2 weeks ago, actually, when you said if they're planning to run at full clock speed, almost at all times, they need something that Mr. Freeze created in that machine to keep it cool, and it looks like it's got the answer, because I looked at the chipboard as well. It looked like it had holes in it, like, to keep, so everything can get through. It looks really interesting to see how they're going to pull it off. But I think because there's so much custom silicon in there as well, that is going to be ridiculous. The fact that Sony have said that it's quieter, it runs at full speed, and it takes up less wattage is pronounced to me. I told you, this is Skynet. It's coming.
It is definitely Skynet. It's here. ET came back and said, "Okay, this is how we do it on our planet." There you go. So it's looking at the heatsink for the device. It's looking like it's going to be placed towards the lower end of the console, which should definitely help with the heat dissipation, providing they've got an adequate fan cooling system. But it is different because obviously heat generally tends to rise, so naturally they may have to follow the same form factor as the PS4 and the PS3 and the PS2 by having the system advertised as being upright. But if you do happen to have it like a desktop, laying flat, it should still maintain at least an efficient cooling temperature. Overall, I'm just interested to see exactly how it's all going to pan out. The patent is definitely out there, so if anybody is curious, just Google it, and you might see a couple of broken links. But if you keep searching, you'll definitely find the cooling system, if not the actual rough design, or I guess for the actual shape of the console. I don't know if you got to that part on the patent. Sorry.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, potentially we're looking at a rectangle. No surprise there, but it did look a bit curvy, which did look it did look interesting. But I guess obviously whenever they put these patents out, it's not really a true representation of the final product. But it'll be interesting to see what they are going to pull out. But I think it's still going to be true form. It's going to look very similar to the PS4, I think. Obviously they haven't given no indication of colors, but again, which seems to be my tagline now, only time will tell.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. So I guess that's about it for this episode. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. Thank you to all the listeners. Shall we point out that you'll be able to get the podcast on YouTube?
Yep, you can get it on iTunes, you can get it on SoundCloud, anywhere really that does podcasts. A link automatically goes out everywhere, and you can get obviously all the information from the @latest PS5 Twitter handle as well, because they link it from SoundCloud. So pretty much anywhere you want to look, you can find it. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting with the road to E3 2020.
road to without E3, I guess. But yeah, it's a bit sad to see, really. But and that's another thing that we can go into as well. I mean, is E3 still relevant, especially with the way technology is these days? A lot of customers, a lot of developers are now looking at that, thinking, do we really need to rely on E3 to launch our games? But yeah, I guess we can delve into that another time. But yeah, it's been great.
Excellent.
Anything. Everybody just stay safe. I know it's a bit crazy right now, but follow the rules. It seems to be working, and we will all get through this. So take care, guys.
Hello, citizens of
PlayStation.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world.
Ridge Racer!